Hi, this is Bruce, and today I wanted to share a guide on how to book at least 15 to 20 qualified B2B appointments on your calendar in the next 100 days. So, this is essentially a way for me to also distill all of the insights and lessons I've learned from running an outbound marketing agency for close to 3 years, booking over 150 B2B appointments, and generating over 500,000 in pipeline revenue. So, the goal. As with any kind of a B2B business, generating new leads consistently is a constant challenge, and without it, it's difficult to build a healthy pipeline that can generate new business opportunities, clients, and revenue. So, the goal of the write up is to really show the exact end to end process of exactly how you, as a founder, owner, CEO of a B2B business, could book at least this number of meetings on the calendar in the next 100 days, specifically using outbound email and LinkedIn. And instead of just talking about the latest tech stack or scripts or fancy tactics to use, I want to focus on the underlying fundamentals of a high performing outbound system, because these are timeless principles you could always leverage on to repeatedly generate new business opportunities. So let's dive into it. So you might ask, who is this random dude on the internet? If you have not heard of me, I'm Bruce, and I help B2B software or services founders increase their lead and deal flow by building them repeatable outbound pipelines that can generate more business opportunities consistently and predictably. And over the past few years, I've worked with clients from different industries, primarily B2B software or services. And again, I want to distill the lessons I've learned along the way into key actionable insights that any founder or owner can use to start and build their own pipeline from scratch to reach their business goals. So these are just some of the logos that we have booked for our clients, some campaign results, and some testimonials from past clients. Now, I consider there to be 6 key elements of a high performing outbound system. We'll go through each of them. So, first of all, the value proposition. We cannot run outbound without a value proposition, period. Because I think that even before starting an outbound engine, you have to be very clear about these 3 key questions. Who are you selling to? What are their challenges and goals, and how does your product or service help them to address those challenges or get them closer to their goals? Essentially, they can be summarized in a simple statement. We help target audience to achieve desired outcome or address the pain point with your product's USP. And some examples here. Then we also need the lead magnets, because when we are trying to outreach to a cold audience, it is harder for them to trust us as compared to a warm audience. And of course, you can run tactics like personalized lines or intent triggers with AI nowadays. But while these tactics might increase the likelihood they respond yes, it would not actually help in converting those positive interest into actual meetings or even help with the sales process later. And that is because we are not providing value that builds trust and lowers the friction with a cold prospect. And we want to demonstrate positive transformation of our product on people that are similar to these people that we are reaching out to, as a way to build trust. But that alone is also not enough, because it has to be a relevant problem they face, and you must be reaching out to the right person at the right company, probably even at the right time as well. And one of the most effective ways to do so is with case studies, where we will sum up essentially where they were before, the problem they were facing, the transformation we gave them in terms of time or revenue or customer satisfaction, how exactly we helped in terms of a concrete methodology or steps, and our unique differentiator. I mean, there are also other lead magnets like webinars, video sales letters, or PDF guides. But if you think about it, these are essentially also different forms of case studies, because people want social proof before they buy. They want to find out that it has worked already on other people similar to them. So this is one of the ways to build trust. Now for the outbound infrastructure, this is a bit of a lengthy portion, so I'll just go over the high level overview. But I would say a solid infrastructure is one that allows you to really be able to send your emails to the inbox instead of the spam consistently, and you're able to scale that up without running into any issues that affect your response rates or book meeting rates. So, of course, for the domains, you want to buy them from reputable websites. You don't even want to use your main domain because that is likely to be burned by sending cold emails. So, you want to buy similar domains that forward to your main ones so that your prospect can still see the website, but you're not sending from a domain that could potentially be burnt. And then, of course, the .com domains are more reputable. And then we have the DNS settings. These are basically settings that allow your domain to be authenticated and sent to the right recipient, so that email providers like Google or Microsoft, they won't flag your emails as spam easily. And then also for getting the right inboxes as well. So obviously the best options are the official ones like Google Workspace and Microsoft Azure, but if you are sending at scale with hundreds of inboxes, they make it really pricey, and there are better options on the market nowadays that are AI powered, so they offer things like better deliverability monitoring and automated swaps in case of burns. And then lastly is your email service providers, software for you to automate the sending of your emails across multiple inboxes and manage your campaigns and also your inboxes. And a note on deliverability, it is also important to warm up your inboxes, which means you want to simulate, email conversations for your new inboxes before you even send from them, so that it's not suspicious to Google or Microsoft. And it's very simple nowadays. In ESPs, you can toggle it on with the click of a button. And I would also suggest to not go above 10 to 15 per day per inbox nowadays. For more about deliverability, check out this guide I made below as well. Now for the data and list building, we still use Apollo in 2026 as the bread and butter for everything. They have the most amount of easily available public data at a affordable cost. And then there is also Clay, or you can even use Claude nowadays for enrichment. And then LinkedIn Sales Navigator for LinkedIn campaigns and niche specific directories for different niches. There was once I had to put together a list of UK government suppliers for a consulting company as well, and I was able to download a CSV of the relevant companies. So you'll be surprised how much data is freely available nowadays and how innovative you can get with your campaigns. Now for copywriting, again it's a long section, so I'll keep it brief, but most of our best performing campaigns have come from indirect angles, generally because they are non-salesy. They are easier to build trust with a cold audience, and all they are trying to do is to either educate or share value or open a brief conversation. Of course, one downside of the indirect angle is the higher response rates also lead to more people that are just shopping. But I think that is a good problem to have if you don't have a consistent or healthy pipeline yet, because more people in the pipeline means you can always nurture them, and then it's easier to convert them later on as well. Direct angles can also work, but you would have to really refine your messaging and segment your list and get your offer dialed in, really understand your offer to get mostly interested people. And by the way, there's only like 3% of people on the market that are interested in buying right now, so typically the response rate is also lower. So I've shared two examples of indirect angles you could use. One is the masterclass angle, where you will invite decision makers to a session where you share more about a topic relevant to them. So this positions you as an authority, it is relevant to them, and it also serves as a discovery session and a qualification call. And then it also gives you the opportunity to prepare a more customized presentation after, if they are the right fit after you've done this mini discovery session, and also gives them the opportunity to loop in other decision makers. Here is an example script. And then the second method is the podcast angle. And why this works is because most people want to feel like they are important and their opinions valued, and a podcast gives them the opportunity to do so. And yeah, it allows you to get in the door and build trust. And because you've already offered something of value, they are more likely to want to continue the conversation with you. So again, it builds trust. And a sample script here. Next, for the inbox management and appointment setting. So this happens after you've gotten positive interest. You're trying to convert those into meetings on your calendar. So the landscape has changed dramatically because we are no longer just using VAs to help us book appointments. Now AI can help as well. So how this works is that we will draft reply templates for different buckets of responses, such as interested, not interested, information requests. Then we will use an AI SDR like under5.ai to respond faster to initial leads. Of course, we want to connect it to our calendar, to our inbox, and then give it a proper context of the business. And you can even use it to automate follow-ups as well nowadays. Finally, we still want a human in the loop to look at the draft of these messages first and approve them. So yes, we also need to send email or Slack notifications as well. Again, the goal isn't to have AI completely automate the process. Some emails from AI can still be misleading. That is why having a human in the loop is still important to ensure everything runs smoothly. So a note on getting creative with your campaigns. Some of my best performing campaigns have come from thinking out of the box or being unconventional. This could be anything from who you're targeting to even the copy you wrote. For example, one was a women's in leadership campaign we did for a company that does a strategic fundraising for impact organizations. They typically target consulting firms or educational institutes, but in this case, this ICP was also relevant as they could help with a leadership skill development in such organizations. So we put together the target list from joining a relevant LinkedIn group of women in leadership to get details of their members, like their names and their LinkedIn profiles, and enrich it with Clay to get their emails. And then we used the podcast angle as the main offer. This ended up booking over 20 meetings a week that we had to turn off the campaign for a while because the client's calendar was too full. So it's just a note on thinking out of the box when it comes to getting your lead listers, even down to the copy you wrote. Now, in summary, if there is one takeaway from this guide as to what makes a successful outbound engine, there are three core pillars. One is the targeting. Who are you targeting and why? This includes the right companies, the right job titles, the messaging. Why is your offer relevant to them in terms of the problems, specific problems or goals it helps this ICP faces specifically, and why right now? And then lastly, also the infrastructure. Do you have the right systems to run and scale your outbound campaigns successfully? Looking ahead, the future of outbound in 2026 and beyond, there is an elephant in the room that has yet to be addressed fully by this guide, which is its impact on AI. Admittedly, it's still something I'm still trying to learn and pick up, but it's definitely something game-changing from what I've seen, because they can literally take your entire outbound workflow and automate it. From audience brainstorming to list building to campaign setup, testing, and response management. So I highly recommend exploring it going ahead, and if you like more content on that in the future, let me know on that as well. And finally, for those that want to set up or grow their outbound motion and they are a B2B software or services company, let's have a conversation via the link below. I can audit your existing outbound workflow or give advice on how to get started. If there's a fit, I'm happy to dive in properly and see if I can help to reach your business goals. Feel free to reach out to me via email or my LinkedIn. Hope you found this guide valuable. Thank you.